You could say it's a good problem to have, but ultimately, what will be better for the Chicago Bears in the long run is it's a little difficult to say. The Bears owning the first overall pick in this year's draft, many of which believe will belong to Caleb Williams. There's a lot of questions when it comes to the Bears. So here we go. This is what's going on. Again, the Bears have the number 1 overall pick. Do they keep Justin Fields, or do they stay number 1 and take the guy many believe will be Caleb Williams? The Bears have seen a lot of growth from Justin Fields and promise over the past season. So if you are the Chicago Bears, what do? Take a look at notable trades for starting quarterback. Which team would want Fields is also a good question there. Those are all the ones that we've seen. And just to kind of put into perspective the Bears' options here. So they can stay at number 1, take Caleb Williams or someone else. Now, Jeremy, there's also an idea of the King's ransom. Trade out of the pick. Maybe you don't love Caleb Williams. You still get a quarterback that you want at the top 10, and you get to keep Justin Fields.
Get what you can. Get everything you can.
Let's welcome in two-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden here. B-Mac, first of all, I almost called you Bryant. I've never called you Bryant before. That threw me up. B-Mac, we're going to go through some teams and see if they fit with Justin Fields. But yes or no, do you think Justin Fields should stay with the Bears?
I think he should, but I think the organization, GM Ryan Poles, they're going to move on from Justin Fields. And the reason why I say that, Amanda, is because if you're Ryan Poles, if you move on from Justin Fields with a new OC, potentially selecting a new quarterback, you kind of reset your time, with the organization. You kind of reset everything for you as a GM because you're starting over from scratch, to say the least. And that buys you more time to be within the organization. So you have more wiggle room for error if that was to happen, instead of sticking with Justin Fields. And let's say, hypothetically speaking, you stick with Justin Fields, it's an abysmal type season, you win 5 or 6 ball games, you potentially will be on the hot seat. So I think understanding and knowing the logic when it comes to trying to, be a part of an organization as long as possible. If you're the GM, you know what? Let's reset everything over again, restart the clock. Let's move on from Justin Fields, draft potentially Caleb Williams, and start over from scratch.
So let's go with some teams. If they do go ahead and make a trade during the draft, before the draft, we would hope, for our sake, being in the media here, teams that need a quarterback who could potentially be interested in Justin Fields. Starting with the Falcons, new head coach and Raheem Morris. How would you like Fields in Atlanta?
I mean, he's from the area, right? He's a Georgia guy. Went to Georgia before transferring to Ohio State. I think it would be a great move for both sides, Atlanta and Justin Fields, and here's why. When you look at what's surrounding the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC South, it's not a very, very competitive division as we see it right now. Yes, Tampa Bay won that division. They didn't do so convincingly, and yes, they played pretty good football in the playoffs, but throughout the course of the season, all the teams in the NFC South were down. Then you look at some of the resources on the offensive end. You got Bijan Robinson. I mean, he's a big-time offensive-like weapon for their offense. Hopefully, they can kind of get things going with Drake London, and the same can be said for Kyle Pitts. We know what type of talent he is, but unfortunately, he hasn't really reached the level of expectations when you talk about sustaining high-level play outside of his rookie campaign. So I think when you factor all of that into the equation, of course, being a hometown guy, it makes sense for Atlanta. It would make sense for Justin Fields.
B-Mac, what about your former team, the Pittsburgh Steelers? And really, this rumor has just kind of started this week. They did let go of Mitch Trubisky there. You still have Kenny Pickett, who they drafted in the first round back in 2022. What would you think about Fields with your former team?
You see the smile? I didn't say one word, right?
I didn't look down, so I didn't see it for a second. Let me see your big smile, B-Mac. Let's see it. How's it going?
Yeah. That's my answer. Smiling. I would be smiling from ear to ear. Personally and professionally, I think for Justin Fields, it would be a great move. Clearly, Pittsburgh, they're trying to find that, surgence of quarterback production, consistent quarterback production, and they need to find that guy. But why I think it makes sense, Amanda, is this. Arthur Smith is the new offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Arthur Smith, as an OC, has shown the ability to get the most out of his offenses, but more importantly, he's been able to get the most out of his quarterbacks. Go back to Arthur Smith's time in Tennessee. Yes, that offense was doing numbers, but look at what Ryan Tannehill was doing. And I believe when it comes to just pure talent, pure athleticism, Justin Fields is a better talent at the quarterback position than Ryan Tannehill was under Arthur Smith. So if Arthur Smith can make Ryan Tannehill look the way he was looking while on the sideline for the Tennessee Titans, just imagine what he could do with Justin Fields, along with Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, Pat Freiermuth, George Pickens, Deontay Johnson. They have some pieces already there in place that can do numbers. They just need to find that consistent player at the quarterback position, and not to mention the athleticism that Justin Fields will provide to Pittsburgh when things are not there in the throwing game. He can make things happen with his legs.
B-Mac.